Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah Hey Halacha Aleph. We're learning Perek Hamish, the fifth Perek. Kol Beis Yisrael Mitzvah al Kiddush Hashem. There is an obligation on all of Beis Yisrael to be willing to die to glorify Hashem. Let's go down to the Peirush. After we finish the first four program, which have to do with the mitzvahs of Yesodei HaTorah, now it tells us two more mitzvahs. The mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying Hashem's name, mitzvah leisase chil Hashem, and the negative commandment: one should not profane God's name. Kol Beis Yisrael, that means every Jew. That this does not apply to a non-Jew. Mitzvah al Kiddush Hashem HaGodol azeh. They are commanded to sanctify God's name. Shenemar, as it says in Vayikra 22:35, and Dash b'Sefnei Yisrael. I shall be sanctified in amongst the children of Israel. And we are warned, we should not desecrate it. It says, and it says there as well that one should not desecrate the holy name. So there's a positive commandment and a negative commandment. They are counted in the Rambam as the 9th positive and the 63rd negative. In the Sefer HaMitzvahs, where the Rambam wrote separately about the commandments, the Rambam says that the essence of this mitzvah of sanctifying God's name is that we have to make known the belief in the truth of the world, and we shouldn't be afraid from anyone who might hurt us, who will attempt to change our belief in our religion, or even that we should say something that would contradict our belief. But we have to leave ourselves be ready for sanctifying God's name. The source of the words that the Rambam the Hagos Maimonides brings in Toras Kahanim, which is the Medrash on Vayikra. It says in the pasuk, you shall not desecrate. Why does it have to say also you shall sanctify? The Torah says, give yourself over on the sanctification of my name. Rashi explains that the negative prohibition is regarding somebody who wants to do it willfully. He questions how can it be by an individual that the obligation is to sanctify his name even when he's alone. Therefore it says B'Sefnei Yisrael. I might think that the obligation is by an individual. The answer is only in public. But an individual, then it's a little different what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do. Even if the non-Jew forces a person only to say that he's paseit chas v'sholom, he has to give up his life, not to say things that would negate Torah and Hashem with his mouth, chas v'sholom, even though he's only saying it because he wants to remain alive and he believes in God. Bnei Noach, those who are not Jewish, are not commanded on Kiddush Hashem and Chilul Hashem, even regarding the 7 mitzvahs that they're obligated to do. Therefore, the Rambam says only the children of Israel. Beis Yisrael includes also converts and women, and the reason that they're not commanded the non-Jews is because the source of mitzvah Hashem is that a person was created to serve Hashem. Israel, who are ready to give their life for Hashem, they're considered servants of Hashem, and somebody who's not willing to give up his life is not considered a good servant. Therefore, Bnei Noach, non-Jews that are not willing to give up their physical being for God, are not commanded. That's the Beis Halevi explains it that way. Regarding whether Ben Noach is permitted to give up his life, there's a disagreement among the later commentaries. The Mishnah Melech in Sefer Parshas Drachim explains this law. Now there's a question. One has to wonder whether minors that did not come to the age of education are commanded to sanctify Hashem. Sefer Likutim, at the end of Sefer Mada, he brings in the name of Nuki Meri. And from the Loshen of the Rambam, the language used by the Rambam would seem to include minors. He brings proof from Miriam Bas Nachtoim, Peirush HaMeir. She had 7 sons, and each one gave his life for the sake of Hashem. And before the 7th son died, she nursed him. So he must have been a child that was less than 5 years old, and still he gave up his life for sanctification of God's name. In Hagos Maimonides, he writes in the name of Rabbeinu Tam that the language of the Torah, I shall be sanctified amongst the children of Israel, is to include even the minors. Ketzad. When does this take effect? If a non-Jew shall stand as his soil, and he shall force a Jew to transgress one of the commandments found in the Torah, otherwise he will be killed. He should transgress and not permit himself to be killed. Because we find there's a commandment. Vayikra 8:5, a person that these are the mitzvahs they shall do and live with them. And we learn from that you're supposed to exist with the mitzvahs. You should not be killed with them. And in fact, in those situations, as we'll see, when one has to sanctify God's name, then if he died, then he did not transgress. He's technically has killed himself because it's suicide. To die in Kiddush Hashem, we learn from the Pasuk, you shall love Hashem with all your heart and all your soul. And Chazal say, even if it takes your soul. On this mitzvah it says, in Tehillim, for you have we been killed all day. The Rashba and the Tshuva questions, can you be killed every day? And every day we say Kriya Shema, and we are willing to give up our soul for the sanctity of the great name. And therefore, that's as if we were killed at that moment on Kiddush Hashem. Because he agrees and concludes in his thoughts to die on Kiddush Hashem, that's as if he has done so already.